And good evening. I'm Jonathan Higgins.
And I am Rich Carlson.
And we are the Scanner Guys, and we're live this evening, coast to coast and worldwide. So happy that you guys can join us. We've got a unique topic tonight.
Yeah.
Let me just pull that up so everybody can see what our topic is.
A little
what is
bit
this
of
topic,
anything.
Rich?
So I don't know if you've ever been to New Orleans.
I haven't.
Okay. They have a delicacy there called Gumbo. And it's pretty much a everything you ever have in the kitchen and we're getting ready to throw out, they put it in a pot and make gumbo out of it. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're doing tonight.
Very nice. I mean, does your wife make gumbo?
She has, and it's very good. And the neat thing about gumbo is every pot is different. And you never know what it's going to taste like until you try it.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for tonight's. Maybe we should do this every now and then. This is a whole bunch of topics that, things that we don't typically have a whole show to dedicate to. So we're just going to cover a whole bunch of wide range of things. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome to the channel. We broadcast live here on YouTube, on the Scanner Guys YouTube channel each and every Wednesday. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a beat. If you're following us this evening on the Scanner Master Facebook page, make sure you hit the like button there. We are simulcasting on there, but our primary channel where we do our broadcasts is on YouTube. But let's take a look at what we've got tonight in the pot. But first, we want to remind you about the Scanners Guys t-shirts we have for a limited time. You can place an order for the Scanner Guys t-shirts at our website, thescannerguys.weebly.com. So place that order right now. We're about, I think it's 10 days now until until it's over. So place your order, get your Scanner Guys t-shirt, and we'll be excited to see those orders roll in. And then you'll have, a Scanner Guys t-shirt. So we're going to be working on some other merch, I think. If we do see a lot of people order this, if the numbers are low, we probably won't do this again. So if you want to see us create some more merchandise, certainly place your order.
Well, we'll have to do Scanner Guys scanner cases and Scanner Guys scanner mounts and Scanner Guys antennas. And...
Oh, my God. That'd be crazy. It's available in 5 colors, as you can see here. So place your order. The green matches the green that's on our slideshow. So that's why the green color. And one of the shirts, the darker one that's on this screen that's on the bottom right, is basically the color, the charcoal color of the background on the slide. So literally, if you get that shirt, you'll look just like our slideshow. You'll blend right in.
Yeah, you could be a conformity guy.
Yeah. But yeah, that looks really, they look really cool. We hope to have some better designs coming out for various things. Like if we end up doing Dayton and this is a big hit, the shirts, maybe we'll have a Dayton shirt, and that would be really cool.
We already have a great suggestion.
Yes.
Scanner Guys swimwear.
As long as it's not Speedos, is trunks for the men and whatever for the women. I'll just leave that alone. We'll have some females decide what they want for the Scanner Guys.
Well, do they have like a 5X large? Then I could that would work for me. Yeah.
The other thing that somebody mentioned, Chris mentioned, the Scanner Guys SDS 200 remote head. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we could definitely get behind that remote head.
That would be cool. That would be cool. I could dig that. So.
Yeah, me too. That would be an awesome thing. I would love to have a remote head for the SDS 200. David has mentioned about Scanner Guys ball caps. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, and that's actually a legitimate thing too. So yeah, that would be pretty cool. And think like windbreakers and stuff like that. So if this really works, we might do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to see if there's a demand for it.
Yeah,
Um,
Jonathan, are you gonna model the swimwear?
well, if it's trunks, if it's speedos, forget that. Our friends from up in the north, I guess, apparently, like to wear speedos because when they flock down into Maine, you'll see a lot of speedos on the beach. So, at least according to what I've heard.
Yeah.
Um, and some of those people probably shouldn't be wearing. Usually, the people that wear those type of things are the ones that shouldn't be wearing it.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's the people are wearing those kind of swimwear shouldn't be wearing any swimmer at all. And they're the guys
No,
that
they
should be
should be
wearing
wearing
T-shirts
something.
in the pool. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
well they should be wearing something, but not
Something.
swimwear.
Yes, keep the clothes on.
Yeah. But yeah, that's we're hoping that this works out, because if this works out, it'll help us bring a better show to you guys too. So.
Yeah, we're also able to, there's not a lot of profit on these shirts, but we do have some profit on there. We're going to basically take the funds that we've raised through this t-shirt campaign, and we're going to put it towards, improving equipment for the show. Other than, we don't have much of a budget at all for the show. So
Right.
we want to keep improving it and keep working on it. The other thing too, is if we ended up doing a t-shirt for Dayton, that would be kind of like a fundraiser to help us get to Dayton.
Yeah.
Because I know our boss, and I don't think he's going to send the two of us.
Yeah. Well, the neat thing about that is, if we're lucky, we'll be able to have some sort of a deal for the people who wear the Scanner Guys T-shirts at Dayton.
Yes, we'll be able to come up with some sort of deal for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So for everybody checking in tonight, we want to say hello. We are going to, what I'm going to do is we're going to refer to the questions and stuff as we can. And if the question or the comment has something that applies to what we're talking about, we'll try to do that right away. And then that way, when we do Romper Room towards the end, we'll have a little less, it'll be a little bit less boring, because it'll be a little bit quicker.
Yeah, so that sounds like a good thing. I'm going to keep my eye on the comments, and then what I'll do is, if there's something relevant to the topic that we're discussing tonight in the pot tonight, I'll put it up on the screen so everybody can see the comment or question, and then we can kind of go from there.
Cool. Yeah, and we'll get some posters, and we'll get the big Scanner Guys posters, so you can put it in your room. It'll be just like the Beach Boys and the Monkees, and
signed, autographed ones, framed. Oh man. So tonight is Scanner Gumbo throwing everything into the pot. We're not throwing in our SDSs or any of those radios into the pot. Right. Don't worry about us melting scanners. We're not going to do that tonight. As always, the Scanner Guys are brought to you by Scanner Master. And in this section, we're going to talk about some cool products that we have. And we'll start this off right now. So this is an antenna that came out, what was it, at the beginning of this year?
Yeah, it's just been a couple of 3 months, yeah.
And this is something that, I really like, for a lot of our folks that are in an apartment, or they're not able to put an antenna on the outside, or they have their scanner in an interior room, and it's kind of difficult to be able to run coax to the outside antenna. This is a great antenna. Everybody knows about Rimtronix, and the portable antennas are phenomenal. This is a back of set antenna, and this will be a great addition to your array of antennas. As Rich and I are both scanner enthusiasts for many years, we have a ton of antennas, and it'll be different antennas for different jobs. And Rich has pulled out his coffee cup of antennas.
Yep.
And it's an array of antennas that we go to. Let's say we're going to do some rail fanning, so we're going to put on this antenna. Or if we're going to be monitoring a trunk system that's 800 megahertz, we're going to put this antenna on. This is a really good antenna. Rich, you and I actually were able to demo it. How did it work for you?
I love it. It works really, really well. Everybody, of course, knows the Wremtronics antennas are probably the best 800 megahertz antennas you can get. And the problem with using the regular Wremtronics on a desktop scanner is that now you have to add an adapter to the mix, and every little piece that you put in there is going to cause some loss. This just pretty much takes that out of the mix and allows you to connect the antenna directly to your scanner. Plus, you can still use it for your handheld scanner. You to put the scanner on the desk, and instead of having to have an elbow on it, you can then fold the antenna up and have it that way, and leave the antenna flat on, or the scanner flat on your desk, so that you're not, it's not going to tilt over. So it's good for handheld scanners, but it's awesome for desktop scanners if you can't have an outside antenna.
Yeah, it certainly is a great, great antenna. I really like that it's, got that 45-degree angle, and it also it clicks in at another degree, if I remember right, Rich?
Yeah, it has 3 set positions, straight up and down degrees, like shown here, and then 45 degrees, which is right halfway in there. So you can, if the radio is on a kind of at an angle like this, you can still have the antenna go straight up. Plus, it'll fold, but it just has 2 stops in there.
Yeah, and that's a really handy for for a lot of radios, or if you're using a portable scanner, for instance, and you have it laying down on the table, laying down on its back. That's definitely something that you totally could use, with this antenna as well.
Now, unfortunately, they don't have this particular antenna with the folding elbow in an SMA version. So if you've got a 330 or a 396, 436, it's not going to work for you unless you use the adapter, which kind of takes the advantage out of it. But if you've got a 325 or a GRE, Whistler, Radio Shack type scanner with a BNC connector, that'll work really well.
Yeah, and that's certainly a really great antenna. Wondering if any of you guys have got this antenna. If you don't, certainly check it out on scannermaster.com. This is certainly a really great antenna. We'll continue on here with some cool stuff. So I couldn't leave this antenna out. This is the Rimtronix 800 megahertz antenna, but this is a unique antenna. This is made for the SDS 100.
Yep. Yeah, everybody knows if you've got an SDS 100, hopefully you know. If you don't, you will in about a minute here. The SDS 100 has a plastic waterproofing ridge around the antenna connector. So most SMA antennas won't fit on the SDS 100. And so people who want to use a Wremtronics antenna have to use one of 2 different adapters. They can use the BNC adapter that comes with the radio and use a BNC antenna, or if you want to stick with an SMA, we do sell an SMA to SMA adapter, which basically allows it to the connector to bump up a little bit higher, and you can put regular SMA antennas on there. So what Wremtronics did is they said, well, wait a minute, we can fix that. And then they made a special Wremtronics 800 mega antenna that is, the base is set specifically to fit the waterproofing ridge on your SDS 100. Works great.
Yeah, and I actually have one of these, and I love it because it just works so well with the SDS 100. The good thing about it is it's very hard to put a lot of the SMA antennas. In there, you have to use, even with some of your regular SMA antennas, you need to use an adapter in order to be able to do it. With this antenna here, you're able to just use the antenna as is. There's no customizing it, no nothing. Like if you even have the Austin antenna, which you probably have in your collection over there, Rich.
Yep, I sure do.
You've done some customization with that, like peeling back the layer, isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you've got an Austin Condor, an SMA version of the Austin Condor, you'll know that the rubber coating of the antenna extends down to the end of the SMA. So what I did is I took a little X-Acto knife and I trimmed the antenna, the rubber off the antenna. Now this will fit directly on the SDS 200 or SDS 100 without having to use an adapter. And boy, does that work great.
Yeah, and you were about to show the Rimtronix version for the SDS, right?
Yep, here's the Wremtronics SDS one antenna, and you can see it's got the little rubber gasket, so it maintains the waterproofing, and it works really well, and it fits directly onto the SDS, and it maintains that water resistance. And we were talking before about the 800 meg antenna. It goes at that 45 degree, 90 degree, or straight out. So that's how that one works.
Yeah, I mean that is a really phenomenal antenna. Works really well. We'll take a look at it one more time on the screen here.
Mm-hmm.
There it is, right there. So Rimtronix, really came out some really cool antennas. I mean, these were antennas that were branded with Radio Shack's name on it, right? Way back when.
Yeah. So if you have one of those antennas, and let's see if I've got one here. No, it's unfortunate it's out in the car. But if you had one of those from Radio Shack, it had a BNC connector on it, and it's at 800 megahertz on the in orange on the barrel of the antenna. And they had a fantastic reputation of working so well for 800 megahertz. And when Radio Shack was starting to go out of business, or when they discontinued, I forget exactly when, I went to all the Radio Shacks I could find, and I picked them up for $5 a piece. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great deal for a really good antenna. And if you have one of these Rimtronics and you monitor about 80% of trunking, 800 megahertz trunking, and you monitor about 20% of the other bands, this antenna will work pretty decent on VHF and UHF. It's not a terrible antenna on the other bands. Of course, it's not going to be perfect, but it'll do the job.
Oh yeah, it works pretty darn well on the UHF. Obviously due to the mathematical properties, 800 and UHF frequencies are about half of what 800. So a quarter wave antenna on 800 is going to be half wave antenna on 800, which is pretty much is a quarter wave on UHF. So it actually works out pretty well.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, that's certainly a really cool antenna. We'll continue on here with the slideshow. This is something that, I think, if you've got a portable radio and you got it sitting on the desk and it's just standing there or it's flopping over all the time, this is certainly something you should consider. The Spectrum Force desk mount for one portable scanner. It kind of dresses it up. It's that nice black stand. You're able to put your radio on it, snake the cables through the openings there. It organizes your shack, so it gives your portable scanner a spot on your desk, it's really nice.
Yeah, it is really nice. Plus, it keeps the radio sturdy on your desk. It's not going to knock over. A portable radio is going to knock over, and you can see how it has wire holes on there, so you can run your programming cable or power cable into it. And if your radio has got a notch, a stud on the back, like the 396 does or the 436, it fits right into it. Or if you've got a case on there, the little stud will fit right in there. And if your radio has got a belt clip, like a 325 or 125, you put it on the other side.
Let's see if I have one of those.
Here, just take mine.
I can't take yours. I do have an Icon, which you can use that with the belt clip. There it is, right there.
Yep, there you go, and that works.
And you can see the belt clip, which is right here. So that's the belt clip that comes with the radio. So I'm able to snake it right through here, and then it'll just sit in there. And look, I've tilted this all around and it's not doing anything. It's staying right on there, so it's nice and secure. And this looks great on the desk.
Yeah, and when you're mashing on the buttons, the radio is going to stay where it's at instead of being knocked over on the desk.
Yeah, so this is it. One more time, we'll just show this one more time, and you can see the openings here and here, and then of course the slot here for any of those nuts that are on there, and then you get the slot here for the belt clip, and then here is the wide hole opening for your power cables, programming cables, and so on.
Yeah, that works great. Did you see Matt's comment?
Let me see. Hopefully it'll fit up in the...
There you go.
Yeah, we can get it in there.
Yeah. So he's got both the 820 and the 830. The 830 is the one with the elbow for the SDS 200 with the BNC, and he's got that one for his SDS 100. And they work better. He says that he thought the 830 works better on the 800 system. I think pretty much the antennas are pretty similar. Although looking at the antennas, there is a it looks like the outer structure of the SDS 200 antenna is a little different. So it might be a little bit different on the inside. I don't know. I don't have an X-ray machine. When I was on the fire department, I'd go to the hospital and I actually X-rayed a couple of different antennas to see how they looked on the inside, but don't have that access anymore.
Yeah, you don't have that access, and plus you don't want to cut your antenna open to take a look at it.
Yeah. So, but it might be the radio versus the antenna causing the difference. And this is a question that comes up quite a bit. Guy says, which radio is better on UHF or VHF? It's not the model of the radio so much as it is the individual radio itself. I've got two 536s on my rack. One of them works much better on UHF. The other one works much better on VHF, and they both work pretty much the same on 800.
Yeah, and I've noticed that too. I have radios that work better on certain bands than other ones. So then I slowly learn that, and then I know, like you did, assign those radios to that particular band. And
absolutely.
You solve that mystery. Well, not mystery, but you basically solve that problem, I should say.
Yeah, exactly. You tie the radio to the one that works best. I got a few radios here, and what I have done, and I've got a whole bunch of antennas up on the roof, or in my attic actually. And every once in a while, about once a year or so, I will use one of my radios and I will set it to a bunch of frequencies, and I'll log how good this antenna works on that radio on this frequency. And I try to find frequencies that are transmitting all the time, like the weather channel or an ATIS channel or data channel or something. So I get a good idea of which antenna works best. And so I'll put that antenna on the radios that are covering that band. And things change from time to time. You can do the same thing with your radios. Figure out which radio works best on UHF and use that for your UHF stuff and so on.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's the thing with these antennas and scanners. They're all unique and different, and just getting the maximum amount of reception out of your radio is a huge thing. We have another, it seems like the SDSs are getting a little bit of talk tonight, and this is a really cool accessory that I thought, this is going to be a really good thing for the scanner community. Right here is the Uniden Bearcat battery and charger kit for the SDS 100. Now, the great thing about this kit, it comes with a battery. So you'll be able to swap batteries when they get low, and it's a drop-in cradle for the battery. So you'll be able to charge it outside of the radio. So you're not tying up your scanner, charging the battery. You just take the battery out of the radio and plop it right in the charger. The other cool thing too, if you have this, you've been out all day, you've exhausted one battery, you're out towards the evening running your scanner, you've exhausted the second battery, you come home, guess what you can do? You can throw one battery on the charger and charge the other one in the radio.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, this is the full-size battery. So, and the other question we get is the small batteries. If you have a small battery, the charger will work with it, and it comes with the battery. But this kit does not come with a battery door, so it only comes with the battery and the charger itself.
Yes, that is absolutely right. But yeah, this is a really good thing to definitely have if you have the SDS. The SDS 100, you can order this through our website, scannermaster.com. Any of these things, like if you're not able to find it on the website or you just want to order it right away, call tomorrow, the 1-800 number, and we'll be able to place that order for you over the phone and get that all set up. If you do place an order for anything tonight after watching the show, put in the customer comments, saw this on the Scanner Guys, just so the powers that be know that our message is getting out there. That proves to the owner of the company, wow, those guys really do a good job. So make sure you put it in the customer comments at checkout. Saw it on the Scanner Guys, so they'll know.
Yeah, and we appreciate all of you that have bought these from us. Tony just mentioned that he got the antenna and the battery cart and the hard leather case from us last week. So
Yeah,
thank you.
I mean, that is awesome. We love being able to share all these things. I mean, some of these products that are not, right at the top of your head. Usually you're looking at a scanner and then maybe an antenna, but those are all types of accessories on our website that you can consider, and this is one of them.
Yep. And hopefully you'll pick something up, you'll learn something in the process.
Here's another thing that we carry. A lot of people are familiar with markscanners.com. So Mark Scanners has become such a popular website for easier to read manuals. Basically, it puts the manual into layman's terms. So it's a little bit easier to follow. So there was such a demand for, to get like a paper edition of this manual. A lot of people don't like reading off the screen, and they want to have something they can physically hold in their hand, flip a page, put a bookmark, write in it if they want. This is the way to go. The easier to read manual. We have a whole bunch of these available on the website. The one that's on the screen here is for the 436 and 536. I believe he's finished working on the online manual for the SDS 100 and 200. Eventually, that'll go to print in a physical book, so you'll be able to purchase that. I mean, a lot of people, they don't like reading off of tablets or computer screens, so they actually want a physical book. That's a lot of questions we get from customers. They say, well, I could just read this online for free. I said, we still have a lot of people that rather have a physical book.
Yeah, and a lot of people are taking the car with them or on a trip where they may not have internet access, or it might be hard to read off of a little phone trying to pick out the text, or trying to or you can read 3 words at a time when you squeeze it out. Yeah. So these are and they're nicely printed, and these got great diagrams, and they're and the text is easy to read. So it really is helpful. So take a look at it online, and if you like what you see and you want the printed version, we do have them on our website, and he has links to them on each of the books as well.
Yeah. Do you see Todd's question there? Do you know an answer for that one?
Let's see here. He's got an older BC250, wants to use the larger capacity battery pack. So the BC250 uses a proprietary battery pack. So you can replace the cells. It's 3 or 4 nickel cadmium cells, and there's a thermistor in there as well. And then it's wired to properly, and then to a plug that fits into the radio. You can sometimes bring those to a battery shop, like with Batteries Plus or Batteries and Bulbs. Yeah. And they can rebuild the cells. They may be able to build them with larger capacity cells. As far as I know, nobody makes those directly anymore. There used to be a company that made aftermarket batteries for those scanners from Uniden and other manufacturers. But as far as I know, nobody's doing that now.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that last couple of shows. There's been battery related questions and things. Yeah, I've seen those Battery Plus around. I mean, the great thing about it, like if you can bring in the manual or bring in the specs of what those batteries are, and then bring the battery in there the way it is, then you can have whoever works in the store look at, okay, so these are the specs of the radio, and this is the specs of the batteries that are in there. And that'll really help them to be able to say, okay, this is what we can do.
Yeah, we did have some of the BP200 and BP250 batteries, which were the type of batteries.
I've shipped, like when our shipping manager went on vacation, I can't tell you how many of those I've shipped when we had them.
Oh yeah, and we had a couple of them up to about 3-4 years ago. I imagine those are long gone. They're gone now. I know that because
they're definitely gone.
Yeah, but we did have them up till 3-4 years ago, maybe, at least some of them.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got one of the battery packs from remember the 200 XLT that had the batteries that slid on and off, those have more cells in them, so the batteries will last longer. But again, you can get those rebuilt, and I've had that done.
Yeah, that's for sure. Do you see Christopher's question? I haven't used this antenna. Have you?
I have not. I saw it and I was copying, so I guess I can take that off my list. Thank you. No, I don't know anything about that antenna. I've not heard of it. So we'll
Yeah,
check
I
into
mean,
that one.
Christopher, if you do end up purchasing that antenna or getting it, please let us know, what your thoughts are on the antenna. Even though that Scanner Master doesn't carry it, we'll be interested to know. And then, like if it is a really good antenna, certainly
Mm-hmm.
our gentleman that handles all the shipping and receiving and ordering can look at it and see if we can start to carry it. But we're always
Yeah.
looking for new interesting products, that's for sure.
Yeah, it looks. I'm looking at it online now, and it looks like it's a very long wire antenna. So, but it looks like it's also flexible. So it might work pretty well. I'm not sure, but it's something we'd like to check out.
That's for sure. But if you do end up getting it, Christopher, let us know, and we'll be curious what your thoughts are.
Do you see the next question up?
Yeah, I'll post that as well. Do you all
Mm-hmm.
have the SDS 200s in stock?
All right. Well, we got a shipment, a relatively large shipment of SDS 100s and 200s towards the end of last week. I think it was Thursday. And the SDS 100s were gone by Friday. The SDS 200s, we had at least one in stock yesterday evening, and it was gone by this morning. So we are out of both of the SDSs right now. They are going out just as quick as they come in.
So just keep in mind, this is out during this live broadcast. So if you're watching it in the replay, it could be back in stock.
Yeah, we might. Yeah, so double check. Go to the webpage, and the webpage it's automatic. So if let's say we had 5 of them and we sold all 5 tonight, and as soon as the 5th one is sold, the website will go to out of stock automatically, so that we don't sell you something that we don't have. So.
And the other cool thing that we can't mention enough, any products that are out of stock on our website, you'll see the red out of stock, and there'll be a blue button that'll say, email me when back in stock. So as fast as these radios are coming in and out of stock, it may be a good idea to put your email address in there. As soon as it comes back in stock, you'll get an email. But make sure that you order quickly, because if it's a smaller batch of radios again, it's going to go out of stock again.
Yeah. So I had a guy who had the radio in his shopping cart, and then he was debating whether or not to get programming and the GPS and all the rest of these other accessories and stuff. And by the time he was ready to check out, it was gone.
Yeah.
So So what I've been telling some people is when they get that email, make sure that they go to the site right away. And if you're going to buy it, just buy the radio, get it paid for so that you have it, and then call us first thing in the morning, or if we're open, call us right away, and then we can add things like programming and options and accessories and stuff to that same order, and you'll still get the free shipping if it's an SES, or reduced shipping if you combine all that a radio that doesn't qualify for free shipping. So order it right away and get it paid for so that you get it, and then call us and we can add the rest to it.
That's for sure. Here's another question. Do you know of a Bluetooth adapter that can be used with the SDS 100? There's a lot of third-party ones out there, Rich. You would have to use the headphone jack on the radio, and then you would have to do adjustments to the headphone jack. So not the headphone jack, but to your volume. Yeah. So wherever source you're transmitting it to, it's not too loud, it's not too low. But there are several of them, right?
Yeah, I've seen them at Best Buy. I used to have one, and I lost it. I was looking for it a couple months ago. I couldn't find it, so it's out in my garage someplace. But they're little dongles that are, with a little, cable going in that plugs into the headphone jack, and it's got its own built-in battery, and it'll last for several hours, and it transmits to your Bluetooth headphones if you've got a set of what are these, AirPods or any type of Bluetooth device, you can.
Even a little Bluetooth speakers. I mean, there's so many of those
Yeah.
now. We used to carry the Anchor speaker, which we don't anymore.
Oh,
And
those are great speakers.
Yeah, those are really good.
Yeah. So you can then use that or if you can use it in a car and run it through your car stereo.
Yep, that's for sure.
Yep.
Todd mentions, and I don't think we're having much issue with 996s inventory wise, if the last time I checked.
I'd have to double check. Let me check it now, but I know we were out of them earlier.
I can talk about the radio a little bit while you're checking that. The 996P2 is definitely a really good radio. It supports phase 1 and phase 2. It's a desktop or a mobile radio. The great thing about that is if you're setting up a feed or you're using this to record audio, it's got that record jack in the back, which we talked about last week. It's a great radio. If you're not in a simulcast situation, you're going to have great digital audio quality. If you have some of the newer radios like the 325 or even the 125 AT, it's going to use the same programming cable, which is great. Or a Home Patrol 1 or 2, same programming cable.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we are out of the 996s right now. And if people are wondering why we're always out of these things, these last few months, obviously with the pandemic, has really messed up our inventory. Not only is it hard to get a lot of these things because the supply chain has been relatively, crazy. Everybody and their brother is buying them. The demand is way up there because people are looking for something to do because they're stuck inside, or with the other stuff going on with the protests and stuff, they want to listen to what's going on. So the demand has been going through the roof. The supply is down because the factories are being disrupted, the transportation's being disrupted. You think it's hard to find toilet paper, look for an SDS.
Yeah, but I still think toilet paper is a little bit more important than an SDS, that's for sure.
Oh, I don't know, you can use a bidet.
Oh man, but yeah,
properly timed showers,
Oh, geez, that's gonna. I don't even want to.
No, we won't. Let's not go there.
Let me. Dale is joining us this evening. So
hey, of course, we got to talk about Dale every week.
Wait a minute. Do you notice something? Dale has his own account now.
Oh my God! Yeah, it's no longer a wife.
Yeah, it was Sharon. Remember, I think his wife was name was Sharon.
Yeah, never knew he married a rock star.
Yeah,
or the rock star's wife.
Yeah.
Well, she's got a TV show, doesn't she?
I think she does. She's on The Talk, which is a daytime show on one of those networks, I think.
Yeah, she's the one with the purple hair, right?
No, she's got the shorter hair. Maybe you're thinking of the daughter.
I don't know. It's I'm not a celebrity guy, so I don't know who half these people are. I just recognize the names. But hey, Dale, welcome to. Because he's on YouTube. That's why.
Yes.
His wife's got the Facebook account. He's got the YouTube account. So
no, he's on Facebook too. It was the YouTube account. I'm almost certain that that was under his wife. Yeah. He's gonna love this topic. I mean,
we're gonna spend 5 minutes talking about
him. All right, let's get to his question here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. He had a question too, didn't he?
Yeah, it's on the screen right now.
Yeah, so he travels around Montana, and he knows a lot of people hauling campers and around the parks, Yellowstone and Glacier. They're open for camping. So it's a great idea. Bring some sort of antenna, a mag mount, or some sort of permanent mount for your camper. Remember, most campers are made of aluminum or how do they say it in Canada? Aluminum, whatever, but aluminum. So if which is not magnetic. So make sure you have, if you're using a mag mount antenna, make sure you have someplace to actually put it, or have some sort of antenna that you can use. Because remember, if you're inside a camper made out of metal, it may not be magnetic, but it's going to block signal. So you need to get your antenna out of the camper.
You know what antenna is very friendly to campers is the Spectrum Force mag mount antenna.
Mm-hmm.
You can snake that cable out. Like I usually have a scanner in our camper, and underneath the bed is the storage, and I'm able to snake the cable out through the storage, and then there's a compartment that opens on the side of the camper, and I'm able to snake out the cable and then put the antenna outside of the camper. And it's a great temporary setup.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole idea behind RVing, is to have as many creature comforts as you can in a mobile environment. So
yeah, and you can monitor all types of things. Like he mentioned, he's going out to the state parks, and a lot of times, you'll need a digital scanner. Most of those state parks are running on a digital federal frequency, and as long as they're not running any encryption, you'll be able to monitor it and be able to hear some interesting things on those frequencies.
Yeah, and of course, I always have your local police and fire, aircraft and railroads, all the popular stuff. It just might be different channels than what you're used to listening to. And I guess that was Kelly. I'm not sure which one's the mom, which one's the daughter, but it was Kelly and Sharon, I think, right?
Yeah, Sharon Osborne is the married to Ozzy Osbourne. Okay. Kelly is the daughter. Okay. I don't know which is for Dale. He's getting a lot of airtime. He's gonna start paying some sponsorship money because we
didn't talk about him last week, so we got to talk about him this week. So he had an account, he just couldn't find his password.
All right, Dale. So if Rich and I get to go to Dayton next year, you need to make a trip out so we can take a photo with the legendary Dale.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, and you know what? We'll take pictures with any of our viewers, and of course, but we got to get one at Dale. I mean, we talk about him so much. So.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I guess we'll get back to the slideshow. We're going to go in and out of this a little bit, I think. So we have another thing that's in our. Here we go. Here's your answer to the pronunciation of aluminum.
Aluminium. Okay. So Mike is our resident Canuck, and I guess people from Mississauga aren't Canucks. They're from Vancouver, but it's aluminium. Okay. I mean, it's hard enough to say it our way, say it the British way.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly is an interesting way of saying it. But thank you so much, Michael, for the pronunciation. And look at it; he did a great job, writing it out there so we could get it right. Yeah,
yeah, he seems like a smart guy. So I will take his word for it. He hasn't steered us wrong yet.
Not as of yet. So what is freeware for some of our audience, Rich? What does that all mean?
So when you get software, you have several ways of getting it. You can buy software. You pay for it. You get it on a disk or a download or some form of media, and that allows you to use it. Usually there's a password that you got to put in and such. There's also what's called shareware or freeware, where somebody writes the software and allows you to use it. And if it's freeware, you're allowed to use it for free. You don't have to pay for it. The guy still owns the software, the guy who wrote it, but you can't sell it, but you can use it and it doesn't cost you anything. And that's a great way to distribute software. And there are so many different programs that are so useful that are freeware that and for radio hobbyists, it's a great way to save some money to get something done without having to pay high costs for software.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many cool things out there for freeware. I mean, some of my favorite softwares that I use for various things are freeware. And they just work really well. I mean, they get a lot of feedback from the users and they're able to customize it a little bit more. So that certainly is a lot of stuff out there. We're going to go over some of that freeware. Rich, you've used a lot of these, so you have a lot of background, so you can kind of tell us what it's all about. We'll continue on here. Here's the first one, which is Pro 96 Com. I'm guessing this works with the Pro 96, which is the Radio Shack scanner.
Yeah, it started when it was first introduced. There was a feature in the Pro 96 and Pro 2096 scanners that allowed a program like this to grab data from the radio without having to make a modification to the radio. Before that, all these decoder software required you to do a discriminator tab. And Pro 96 Com was developed so that you can use it with the Pro 96 or 2096, and you won't have to modify the radio. You just use the regular programming cable that comes with the radio. They have since expanded it, so now it'll work with many different Uniden scanners like the 996 or the 5. I'm not sure if it'll work with the 536, but I use on my 996s quite a bit. And of course, it works with the Whistler, GRE, and other Radio Shack scanners, the digital ones, the PSR 600 and 500, the Pro 197, Pro 106, 651 and 652, as well as the current Whistler WS 1040 and 1065. So if you got any of those type of scanners, you can use it. And I've got 4 of the PSR 600s down here, and I use Pro 96 Com to decode some of the local trunking systems. It only works on P25 phase 1 and 2 systems, but it is very easy to set up. No modifications necessary to the radio. Just plug the cable in, put in the serial port, tell the software what type of radio you're using, and off you go.
Wow, that is super cool. So that's certainly something that you all can consider, and it's freeware, so it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, and what it does is it sits there and it monitors that control data, and it logs and displays all of the active talk groups, all the frequencies assigned to the system, all the user IDs that are popping up in the system, and logs all this stuff up. And if you've got a second radio that's compatible, it will allow you to connect that to the computer and then send the second radio to the voice channel on certain talk groups.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's super cool.
Why use one radio to monitor a system when you can use 2?
Yeah. I mean, if you get the radios, why not?
Plus your computer, So it is a great software program. It decodes it very well. The guy who writes it, Glenn, I think it is the best. I love it. And the guy who writes it is very responsive to questions and issues. And his name is Mike, and I exchanged a lot of different emails with him over the years so that I've been using this. I've probably been using this for close to 10 years. And a couple things that I've found on it and that I've emailed to him, but there's a lot of different users who kind of crowd share this, and allows you to, and he'll make the fixes to it. And so it's not stale, but it works really well, and I love it.
Yeah, it seems like it's awesome. We'll continue on. Michael also chimes in with, would love to get a picture with you guys in Dayton. So let's
make sure you have a wide format camera.
Oh, God. Fingers crossed that we have a 2021 Dayton. Hopefully we get out of, or we live, or we learn to live in this environment. We'll probably have to take a photo with you with our mask on. If that's required at that point, but at least you'll know it's us.
Yeah, well, I'll have my wife make us masks with our names on them or something.
Or
the scanner guy is Jonathan.
Or you know what? What we could do is get a mask that's got our face printed. So
yeah,
the portion that's blocked, you can still see it.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
Oh man,
that'd be cool.
So
alrighty, moving on.
Let's continue on with the slideshow. So this is the Unitrunker. This looks quite interesting. I'm gonna make this wider so everybody can see the the screens there. So tell us a little bit about this, Rich.
All right, so Unitrunker does pretty much the same thing that Pro 96 Com does. It's a little more complicated to get going and set up, but it's extremely powerful. And the neat thing about it is it works with other types of trunking systems. So it works with a wide variety of trunking systems, not just P25. And it allows you to do lots of different things. You can, obviously log activity and analyze systems and control radios as well. but you're not limited to P25 systems. So and there are people who love Unitrunker and are extremely proficient in it. I have used it. I think it's a little more complicated to set up, but once you get it going, it is awesome. And I've got a friend of mine who lives down here in the valley who loves this software, and he's kind of my mentor when it comes to Unitrunker. And it is very powerful software. You got to be a little patient at getting it set up, but once it's set up, it really is powerful. And both software, both Pro96Com and Unitrunker, support downloading from radio reference, just like a lot of other software products do.
Which is very cool. You just have to make sure that you have an active radio reference subscription with your username and password. Meaning that you've either paid the $15 for 6 months or the full year, $30 from radio reference.
Yeah. And that's the same thing with all the other software packages like ARC products or the others, where if you're a paid member at Radio Reference, you can download all kinds of stuff from their database directly into the software without having to retype it. With Unitrunker and Pro96Com, once you start decoding a signal, the software will go to the Radio Reference database when you tell it to and look up the system that it has decoded and figure out what it is, and then download all the stuff from Radio Reference. So all the talk group names and site names and stuff like that. Yeah, it is really cool.
It certainly seems like a really cool, powerful tool there. But yeah, these are things that you can definitely check out. I mean, if you're working from home or you're spending a lot more time at home, I mean, these are opportunities to be able to download some of this freeware and try it out. You may have a lot of fun, you may spend hours, messing with this stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And especially if they have a new system that you're trying to find all the details on. It's a great way of finding all these arcane details. And what you do is you import it from Radio Reference, and then any talk group that shows up without a name, is not in the Radio Reference database. And now you can start figuring that out. And if you're a member at Radio Reference, you can go ahead and submit it and get that database updated and share the information.
That's for sure. I mean, it's such a cool thing there. We'll continue on with our slideshow here, and we're going to look at Scanner Recorder, which is a really neat thing. And this probably comes in handy for that record jack in the back, right?
Absolutely. We talked about that last week. So Scan Recorder it's no longer supported. The guy who wrote it kind of abandoned it, but you can still find it if you Google it and download it, and it works great. It's a Vox, or voice operating control recording program. And I used to use this a lot when I was decoding fire tones. I would set the software up to a scanner, record a fire channel for the day, and then when I got home at night, I would play the software back through an analyzing program and find the fire tones and then decode the fire tones. And this is a great way to record scanner traffic, because what it does is it starts recording when the voice stops, and it stops recording after the voice stops, so that you don't have to sit here and listen to 6 hours of dead air trying to find something. Yeah. You hear the conversation, there's a little dead spot, and then there's more conversation, and it's very efficient. And if you take a look at the display, it gives you the current time, the elapsed time, and how much time has been recorded. So it really is a great way, and you can make some adjustments, but it's really easy to get set up. And it just records it to a hard drive on your folder, and then you can play back that with any audio program or directly through Windows. And what I would do is I would run that recording through Audacity or Adobe Audition and use that to decode what the actual tones are.
Yeah, I mean, this is totally cool. I remember when you used to get tape recorders that would have the VOX on it, and that was pretty neat. A lot of people did that as well before computers. They connected up to the record jack in the back of their scanner to a tape recorder, and then recorded the radio transmissions that way.
Yeah, and then you would use the line-in jack. And I had a Vox cassette recorder, and I used it a lot. But the problem with cassettes is it's on a cassette. The nice thing about a recording on a computer is you've got it here. You can play it on the computer. I could email it to you. You can play it on your computer. I can go and play it on my iPod, whatever I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, well, digital has changed the world forever. With digital recordings and digital video. I mean, heck, we're broadcasting on the internet. Who would ever thought we would be doing that?
Yeah, who'd have thunk it? Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, that's a look at some of our freeware, which is really neat. We love being able to cover all these topics, on this program. What we want to recommend now, we're kind of midway through the slideshow. We're going to have another vote for next week's topic. But you guys are going to provide us some topics, and then we're going to narrow it down to a couple, and then you'll be able to vote for what topic we cover next week. So start thinking about those topics, post them in the comments. We'll look at those in the romper room section of the broadcast, and then what we'll do is Rich and I will pick a couple of them, and then you guys can vote on the website and go from there.
Yep, absolutely. So start posting those topics, guys.
That's for sure. And we're going to continue on with some scanner hints. Now, these we love to pepper in, especially during our broadcast when it's Ask the Scanner Guys. We love to put these into the show, and so we're going to feature some of these here. SDS antenna options. We kind of dived into this at a little bit at the beginning. This is everything all side by side. You can see up close Rich's customized Austin Condor antenna. That's right, Condor, if I remember correctly. Yep. With the X-Acto knife where he trimmed it down so it'll be compatible with this SDS 100. Also, the antenna next to it, if we're going from right to left, is the rubber duck antenna that comes with the scanner. You can see the rubber gasket there. And then we've got the Rimtronix that's to the left of that. And it's got the gasket there that goes right on place there. And then we of course have the SMA to BNC adapter that comes with the SDS 100, and we do carry those if you do lose it. I mean, a lot of times these are small little adapters, especially these SMA to BNC adapters. We do carry that.
Now we actually carry 3 different SMA to BNC adapters. And the reason we carry this one specifically for the SDS 100, this is one of the 3, is because once you screw an adapter onto the SDS, if you had one of the ones with that flat knurls, I don't have one here to demonstrate, it's very hard to get off because you don't have enough room to stick your fingers in. And the one that comes with the Home Patrol won't fit because the base part of it is too wide. So this one is neat because it's one piece of metal on the outside so that you have something to hold when you tighten it down, or more importantly, when you want to remove it from the radio. We also sell the SMA to SMA adapter, which screws on to the SMA connector of your SDS 100, and it has an SMA female on top of it so that you can put another SMA antenna on there, the one that may not fit your radio. So if you've got your favorite antenna and you don't mind putting an adapter in there, it will allow you to use your favorite SMA antenna.
That's for sure. We just had a question, does Pro 96Com work with a 996P2 scanner?
Yes, it does.
Okay. I just saw that pop up, so I figured, that was just a bit ago, so we figured to cover that right now. But yeah, these, who would have thought that one radio would have changed everything, for the SMA connection, just because of that ridge?
Well, and people ask, why is that ridge there? It was not designed for the scanner. That plastic case style and tooling was actually designed for a marine radio. that Uniden also sells. It's very similar case, so they reuse some of that tooling. And if you take a look at some of the Uniden marine radios, it looks very similar. And since marine radios need to be water resistant, they say, hey, that'd be a great thing for a scanner. And they kept that. So now the other thing you could do is you could trim that ridge off with an X-Acto knife, but you don't want to do that for it.
Yeah, you're not going to make, it's going to discolor the plastic and it's just going to look bad. And the thing is, when I worked with Rich Barnett, the owner of the company, his big thing is tooling is always very expensive. When you're creating a shell of a device, of course, my scanner's in the case, but when you're creating this here, the shell of the scanner, this is very expensive because, you have to make the mold and everything. So Uniden, being smart, the marine radio, they've already designed that case and they said, boy, this would be ideal for a scanner case. So they took everything that they had on the marine radio and applied it to this and made it work. And then, of course, the ridge stayed. So,
so they kept their costs down, which reduces the cost to the consumer. And since they didn't have to redesign the whole thing from scratch, they were able to bring it to fruition that much quicker.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, that's the good thing about it. I mean, you notice that a lot of the scanners have similar body styles, and that's why. And then when they change a body style, you notice, for example, if you look at the 123, the 125, sorry, the 125, and you look at the 325, their body style is exactly the same.
Yeah, and as well as the 75 and the SR30. It's all the same case, just different innards.
Yep, which is quite an interesting thing there.
Yeah, and many times, because I've got both. I've got the 325 and the 125, and sometimes I've grabbed the wrong one. And
and you're like, oops.
Yeah.
Especially if you need the digital one, that's a big problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I use that when I go to the mall. I bring my 325 because I use DMR there. And the neat thing about it is it's so small, it fits in your shirt pocket, and you don't even see it. So let me stand up here so you don't even see the radio.
Yeah.
And it works great. And I walk around the mall and let the wife do her shopping, and I've got this going to my headphones, and I'm happy. She's happy. Yeah.
Okay. I have to give a warning to this next slide. Viewer discretion is recommended. This may be inappropriate for some audiences.
That's true. Yeah. If you don't like nudity, you don't want to see this next shot.
Here it is right now. There it is. The inner
radio nudity.
So there's the inside of the radio. Rich, tell us a little bit about this slide. I was just kidding about it. We're not going to see any nudity, but some people would probably panic, saying, "Oh my God, you opened up the radio! You're going to avoid the warranty." What is the story on this?
Well, this is the inside of a BC250 or a BCD 996. I forget which, but it doesn't really matter because it's pretty much the same. And every once in a while, if you had a radio for a few years, the keyboard of the radio may become unresponsive. You can press buttons and they're not working, or only some of the buttons are working, not all of them. And that is the culprit. That is the ribbon connector that goes between the daughter board, which is behind the front of the radio, and the main board, which is at the bottom of the radio. And it connects those two boards together. And of course, on the daughter board is where the keyboard is. And sometimes, especially if you've got the car in the vehicle, or if you live in California, you get earthquake, things are bouncing around. That little ribbon connector can work a little loose. And just one pin, I think it's like a 30-pin ribbon connector, if just one pin comes slightly loose, you'll lose a couple buttons on the keyboard. You might lose part of your display. You might lose your volume control. Something in there will stop working. And when that happens, and you've got one of these radios, if you open the radio up and you just make sure that that ribbon connector is in all the way, most of the time that'll fix it. I've had to do that on 2 radios. Now I've got 20 of these radios, and I've had to do it on 2 of my radios. And a lot of people, not a lot of people, several people I've talked to on Radio Reference have had this same thing. Once you reseat it and it's working good again, take a little bit of Elmer's glue and put a glop on each side of it to help prevent it from working loose again. And if you ever have to remove it, the Elmer's glue will come off pretty simply and it won't do any damage. You will not void your warranty if you do this properly.
That's a good tip there. Yeah, so definitely, if you're not sure, there's a lot of videos on YouTube as well with various things like this. But if you're not comfortable doing it, send it to somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a question that comes up. Obviously, you can send these to Uniden for repair. There's a question from earlier about Uniden repair. Uniden repair right now, I know, is running way behind. We've had a couple customers that have had some radios that have been sent in for repairs, and there's a couple things going on. Number one, I'm sure that their personnel are affected by the COVID-19 thing as well. So there might be some personnel issues going on. But the other problem, which is probably actually more of an issue, is getting the parts necessary to do repairs. And so if you've got a radio that needs a repair part, a new display or a new squelch knob or something like that, getting the parts might be kind of a hard time right now for them. So I did send a couple radios in for some out of warranty repairs on the 536s, and I got them back in about 2 weeks. I was lucky. They had the parts, they had the people, but other radios have been out for a month or so. And let's see here. What was the other question we had about that same type of thing? Mike is our buddy from Mississauga. Hey, you're back to work. Great. Good deal, Mike. So he's still, same thing. He's still waiting to hear on his SDS 100, which he knows it's been delivered to Uniden, but he's still waiting on the SRO number, the standard repair authorization number. So you got to be patient. And if you're waiting on deliveries, the U.S. Postal Service is running about 2 to 3 weeks on small packages these days. So be cognizant of that too.
Yeah, so it's a bit a crazy time that we're in. There's been a meme that's been going around the internet for Back to the Future, the movies, and it's basically whatever you do not go to 2020. So whatever you do, forward or backwards in the future, do not go to 2020.
Yeah, skip 2020 and go straight up to something else. So
yes, that's for sure. We're looking for topics for next week's show, so definitely post those in the comments right now. I do see some of them trickling in right now, so post those in the comments, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube tonight. We can see both of them on one screen, which is the awesomest thing in the world. So that pretty much wraps up our slideshow presentation. What I'm going to do is just go through some of these slides. So post your comments and questions now, and we'll get to those momentarily. So let's go through the slides right now. So make sure if you got any questions about scanners, or you need some help looking for a new scanner, or you get scanner related questions, email support@scannermaster.com. And as always, we're open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern time. You can give us a call at 1-800-722-6637. That's 1-800-SCANNER, or just type it in 1-800-722-6637. As Rich mentioned, you can shop the website 24/7 at scannermaster.com, but shipping for USPS may be a little bit slower during this time. Just keep that in mind. If you're interested in learning about upcoming sales from our sponsor, Scanner Master, sign up for their newsletter. You can do that right now at scannermaster.com. And don't forget to purchase your Scanner Guys t-shirts. They're now available for a limited time. Order now at the Scanner Guys, thescannerguys.weebly.com. That's thescannerguys.weebly.com. So make sure you place an order for that. It's available in 5 colors. We're starting to wrap this campaign up. This will help us get the word out there about the Scanner Guys, and also will help us with raising a little bit of money for various equipment that we need to keep these broadcasts going. So definitely support the Scanner Guys by going to our website, thescannerguys.weebly.com, and purchase one of these t-shirts. They're not going to last for long.
Yep.
Next week's broadcast, this is going to be decided by you. We're going to put up a poll on our website, and then everybody will be able to vote on our website. It'll be for next Wednesday's topic, July the 23rd of 2020. And we will be live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. The topic will be picked by you. As soon as we narrow down it to three to pick from, we'll post it on the website, and then you guys can vote. We'll probably have the voting until Saturday morning, so we can start working on a slideshow for the broadcast. We can't push it all the way to Wednesday because we can't put together a slideshow and what we're doing the show, that's for sure.
Yeah, we do have to do a little bit of research and stuff sometimes. So
yeah, I mean, certainly keep that in mind. And then we're always looking for your shack photos and stupid scanner tricks. Keep them coming. Email thescannerguys@gmail.com. Thescannerguys@gmail.com. Excuse me, the hiccups. Scannerguys@gmail.com. And then if you're a rail fan, make sure you check out my website, trainaficionado.com, or Rail Aficionado on Twitter, and then Train Aficionado for Facebook and Instagram there. And then, of course, don't forget to like, subscribe to Scanner Master on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and also the Scanner Guys. We have a lot of social media: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And as always, the Scanner Guys are brought to you by Scanner Master. So we're seeing some more topics.
Yeah, got a couple of good suggestions there. Homemade antennas. Let's see here. Aviation monitoring, encryption, using the FCC database. And let's see here, going back a little bit more. Those are the ones we got now. But get us some more ideas, and we will certainly we'll pick the 3 that we think are going to be the most popular, and then we'll let you guys pick.
Yeah, and we'll definitely post on both social media pages, the Scanner Master one and the Scanner Guys one, when the poll's up, so you can go there and vote. We'll get those up as soon as possible.
There you go.
Yeah, so we certainly, if you've got a question that needs to be answered right away, certainly email this email address that I'm putting on the screen right now. It's support@scannermaster.com. We don't always monitor the Scanner Guys one all the time, so if you have a pressing question, email it to support@scannermaster.com, and we can answer that relatively quickly. Once again, here is the website. I'll leave that up there for a little bit. That's our website, thescannerguys.weebly.com. What else is going on there, Rich?
Oh, well, got a bunch of people who that have checked in. We appreciate each and every one of them. I want to give a special shout out to my buddy Dan, who I've known for 45 years, something like that, something crazy. I've known him since I was 18, so I'll carry the 4, a long time. And he was one of my dispatch mentors back in the day when I was a young dispatcher. And remember, a couple of weeks ago we were talking about classic scanners, and I mentioned that RCA scanner that we had. He was who I got that from, and I think I traded it back to him, and we traded it back and forth a couple times. So, Dan, glad you're doing good, and miss seeing you, buddy. So we got a few other check-ins, of course. We got some of our regulars, Will and Ray and Dave and John and a bunch of guys. And of course, a couple Kevins, another Dave. There's Todd, Alicia, of course. Alicia's one of our regulars. Another John, Pat, Jerry, Joe, bunch of guys. We should do a scanner guys remote head for the SDS 200. Boy, I wish we could. I really do.
Oh man, I would totally love that. I mean, the remote head is something that we talked about. That was the scanner history show, right?
Yeah.
And the whole thing of it is Uniden manufactured it. It wasn't a huge hit for them. They didn't sell too many, and then what happened is they discontinued it. And then Scanner Master, the owner, Rich Barnett, approached Uniden and said, "Do you still have some parts left over for that? We would love to sell that exclusively." And then we sold that like gangbusters because there was a small number of people that had the remote heads, and they started talking to their friends, and then their friends talked to their friends, and then like, oh, I wish, everybody's thinking, geez, I wish I had that remote head. I wish I bought one when they had it. And then we started selling it. We did 2 batches from Uniden, and I remember they sold like hotcakes.
They did. We sold every one we had very quickly. And it's like the SDS 100s are now. You can't keep them in stock. And unfortunately, Uniden no longer had the tooling and parts for it. So they're no longer available. And they have not shown any interest at all in coming out with one of those again. So Bob wants to see video tours of our scanner setups. So we can add that to our topic list.
Yeah, probably the best format of probably doing that is, to actually do a video tour where it's a little bit, basically Rich and I are running stationary cameras. So that may be a little bit, some of our audience may get a little seasick.
Yeah. And it's going to be very hard to do that live. So we could post it to YouTube, perhaps. I've got a couple Shack videos of mine posted to my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So if you know where to find me on YouTube, you can see some of my Shack videos.
I don't have anywhere the extent of what Rich has. So, I'm pretty. How many radios do I have in front of me right now? I have 6 radios. I have an array of portables. I have my. I have my SDS 100. I have my 125 AT. Let's see what else I have here. Just an easy reach. I already shown this, the ICOM. I love this radio for rail fanning. So that's a really cool radio. I also have my my 436 HP. So I have several portable radios. I also have, which we don't carry anymore, which I love down here, is the unication unit. Works great. But yeah, I mean, that's the extent of, I have some radios. I have more radios than the 6. I have them stored away, but I don't have nearly as many. You would think, he's got to have a load of, radios. I mean, for the most part, I can monitor what I want to monitor with the radios that I have. I mean, if I have an outdoor antenna, which I still haven't done as of yet, once I put that out there, maybe I may add a few more radios in there. But for right now, it's a lot of trunking here for me where I'm in the Carolinas. So I can put in a couple of radios. The same thing for you, Rich, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got on my desk, I've got Home Patrol 1 and 2. I've got a BC250, 2 536s, an SDS 200 and 100 all on the desk. And then got a couple of handhelds. These are my 125 and my 436. And I've got a few other handhelds over there. And then on the rack and back of me, from the top down, I've got a bunch of BCT15s and 15Xs, and then half a dozen 996 XTs, an ICOM, a couple two-way radios, 746 for ham stuff, and 4 PSR 600s on the bottom they use for Pro 96 comm. And that's the stuff in the house. Of course, then we both have scanners in the car. So
yeah, I just have right now, I have the SDS 100, 200 in the car. I so want to have an SDS for in the house. I think, it would be an awesome, that would be the 7th radio in here if I was able to put in or I may take out one radio and just have it to the 6.
Yeah.
The other thing that I didn't put on the slideshow, which is a really cool thing, we actually got this power cable that we introduced several maybe a couple months ago, I think, and I love that. You know, with my 4 radios, I got all 4 radios plugged into that adapter. We're currently out of stock on that, I think, Rich, right now. Do you know when we're going to get that back in?
No, but I know we have them on order because I saw the order go through. We're just waiting on the delivery of them. So, but yeah, that's a great thing. It's a higher current power supply. I think it's a 2 or 3 amp power supply, or a little bit higher, so that it can power multiple radios, and then allows you to program to power up to 4 scanners from that one power supply, and it works really well.
I was excited about that because I have. I'm not too sure if you guys have Harbor Freight tools near you. A lot of people have those near there. So I have a 12 plug strip that's behind my desk. And I actually have 2 of them. So I have 24, geez, isn't that crazy? 24 plugs. So I have 2 strips. So I have all the scanners plugged in there. I have my computer monitors. I have my my Scanner Master phone, my headset, you know, the audio board, you know, plethora of things that I have plugged in right here in my studio. So when I got that adapter, it freed up 3 outlets, which was awesome. I was like, this is the best thing ever. You know, I was tying up all these plugs, and then I, you know, got it down to 1 adapter for 4 radios. I'm like, oh, geez, love it.
Well, I got kind of the same thing. But what I've done in my radio cabinet is I have one pretty decent 12-volt power supply to power all the scanners. So I can kill the entire scanner. I got to remember which way to point here. I can kill the entire rack of scanners with 1 switch. And it's a big 25 amp 12-volt power supply that powers all the scanners. And then the 2-way radios are on their own. And then the ham radio is at its own power supply as well. So I can kill everything with with 1 switch basically. And I have some networking stuff in there. So there's a battery UPS, and there's 1 big outlet strip. So the whole cabinet has 1 power cord coming out the back. So when I move it, that's a lot less wires coming out of it.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I have a desk that's multi-tiered here. So I have my keyboard, and then I have my monitors in front of me. And then above, I have 4 scanners above and then 4 scanners below. And I have the 2 power cords. So when I pull this forward, when I got to do work behind the desk, I'm able to, you know, not worry about a whole bunch of cables.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes life a lot easier. So you can reduce the amount of wires going around. Wire management, cable management is huge with me. I got the same thing on my desk, where I've got 1 power cable for my desk, and my desk is entirely self-contained. So there's a power cable, and then I have a bundle of wires coming out of the back of my my desk going towards the radio cabinet. And there's a network cable, there's an antenna cable, there's 2 USB extension cables, and then a couple mic cables for the desk mics. And so that's nice and bundled. So I can disconnect that if I had to. I can wheel the whole desk right out of the room and then into the other room if I had to. So keep everything self-contained, keep the wires all tied down. The wife is happy because it's all neat and there's no wires sticking out.
Yeah, it's easier to clean too. You know, like a lot of times, you know, behind, you know, like the cabinet or behind a desk, that's a perfect place for dust to build up. And that's a great way, you know, like if you're able to move these out relatively easy, you know, give a good vacuuming back there. I mean, it's really, you know, I mean, if you've got a mess of wires or whatever, it makes it extremely difficult to move things around. Yeah, every so often I do the same thing as you, Rich. You know, like things do tend to get as much as you want to be management with your wires. When you go and start moving things and putting things back, things will eventually get a little bit messy. So yeah, going back there and just cleaning it up. I mean, we've talked about that in our last show. I think was it with the we're a huge fan of the Velcro.
Yeah.
These strip.
Well, with the amount of stuff that I've got, every once in a while, I just have to take it all apart and do it all over again. And I'll pull all the wires out and I'll redo it because, you take something out and you put something in and you don't take all the old wires out, or you move the wires and stuff like that. Every once in a while, it's kind of nice just to take it all apart and put it all back together again.
Yeah, and then you find some of those cables that are dangling and wondering whatever happened to it. Like I've had that a couple of times. Programming cable that I disconnected, and then I thought I lost it or moved it or used it for something else, and it's hung up on cables. Back there. So
you're like, what the heck is this wire for? So
yeah.
Joe asks, what's a good base station for his house here in Central PA? So Joe. The best scanner there depends on whether or not they're using digital, and if they are using digital, if they're using simulcast. So you really can't go wrong with an SDS if you can afford it. But if you don't need to spend that kind of money, you might be able to get away with a lesser digital scanner, or some areas might still be using all analog. So go to radioreference.com, see what type of systems they're using there, and if they're using P25 simulcast, you want to go with an SDS. If they're using P25 single site, you can use any digital scanner. And if they're using analog, you can get a BC250 or a 125. And if you're still not sure, give me a call tomorrow, and I'll look it up for you for your specific area and tell you what type of scanner you're going to need.
And if you're not able to call because you're at work, the email address is right on the screen right now. So you can email support@scannermaster.com. So basically what we would need in that email is that you're looking to monitor, police, fire, and what state, town, and county you're in. So that'll kind of give us a good snapshot of, okay, this is your local town. So this is clearly, very important. And then the county is going to help us find it relatively quickly on radio reference. And then we can look at your county and say, yeah, if you want to listen to your local town, this is what you need. If the county's on a different system, we can tell you, well, you're going to need this to be able to monitor the county. So, of course, we'll even look at the state police or highway patrol in that area, and we'll tell you, okay, so they're either encrypted or they're on a system that can't be monitored, or they're digital trunking, or whatever they may be. We're going to tell you what you need.
Absolutely. All righty. Let's see. Todd asks if anybody still supports or still have the older BC 796D scanner. This was another one of those classic scanners that we talked about a couple weeks ago. 796 was the successor to the 780 and 785 scanners. It was the first unit and scanner that handled 9600 baud trunking. It only worked on 800 meg, or 8 and 900 meg trunking. It didn't work on 700, which wasn't a thing back then. We don't sell those. If you're going to want to buy one, you're going to have to get one on the used market. We do have software that will support it, but we no longer can do programming on it directly for a lot of areas. Again, if they're using 700 megahertz, that won't work. So they're great scanners if they work on your particular system. If you've got a P25 or an EDAX or an LTR system that's on 800 or 900 megahertz, but it won't work on 700. And Rich, my buddy from down the road, says he uses a clear plastic pamphlet holders for his portable radios. He picked them up from his office supply store for like $5 a piece. So that's a great idea for your handheld scanners. If you've got a little pamphlet or business, I've got a business card holder over here that I've used for my scanners occasionally, and it just kind of holds it up. And it keeps it from falling over on the desk if you knock your desk. So that's a great suggestion. I've seen other people use bookends as well.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly, like if you're really creative, you can certainly find things to be able to do all types of things with your shack.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Matt was talking before about which radios work better on different frequencies, and his findings, he based that on the system analyze feature on the SDSs. So that's a great feature. Look it up in the manual or at the Mark's page to see how the analyze feature works on the SDS radios. It really is pretty cool. It can sit there and analyze the system and tell you all kinds of details about it. Let's see here. We talked about Dale's thing in the parks. All right. So Matt has another one. He's got it's called a Wremtronics Bluetooth, and that he used. So he's using Bluetooth not so much for the audio, but to control the computer, or control the scanner by computer. So now he's using ProScan. I guess he is using it for the audio because ProScan will support pulling the audio off the scanner on the network port on like the SDS. So let's see. So Wremtronics, I've never heard of them, but I imagine it's another one of those Bluetooth type dongles that allow you to connect to it. Ben Edit. What are the requirements to download frequencies directly from radio reference? And Glenn already answered this question for him in the comments, but I will talk about it here. And we talked about it briefly earlier. If you are a premium member at Radio Reference, and like it shows on the screen there, it's $15 for 6 months or $30 for a year. Not only does it allow you to download the stuff from the Radio Reference database directly into your software, but you won't see a lot of the ads on Radio Reference. You'll still see the Scanner Master ad because we're special. But
yes, we're special.
Yeah, you won't see all the other ads that are very common on websites these days. And just that, it's worth the $30 a year. And it really is. And there's a couple other things you can get from that too. You can download PDFs for your county or system. And download that so you have the complete details on the system in a format that you don't need to access the internet to get. So that it really is worth the $30 a year to get that. Let's see here. We already talked about the 796. And we were talking earlier about Pro 96Com, and it really is a great decoder. And there are less scanners that will work for control than will work to provide the data. So only certain radios will work for the voice, directed voice channels. So I know it'll work on the 996s and of course the 396 and some of those ilk. Those are the ones that I've tried. I know it works on them. So if you've got a couple of 996s and you want to do that, that'll work great. And let's see here. And so far, he hasn't got to work with the TRX scanners. It will work. I think it'll work for a control for the voice radios. I've made it work on my Pro PSR 600s. So if that's the case, it should also work on the WS 1065 and 1040. It will not work on the TRX. That part I can tell you. Software availability for the TRX scanners is much more limited. The only scanner software I know that'll work with those is the EasyScan software that comes from Whistler. And it does not support virtual control as far as I know, at least not in its current form. Another topic suggestion, using the FCC database for finding frequencies. That's a great idea. Okay. RC944 Jim has a great question. Will we ever have a GPS installed in your SDS 100? So we do sell the universal GPS kit that'll work on all the unit and scanners that support GPS. There is a guy who will modify your radio and add an internal GPS to your radio. It works. I know a couple guys that have done that, but there are a couple things you must be aware of. Number one, it will void your warranty. And number two, when he installs it, you're going to lose the belt knob because that's the only place he has to put the GPS. And you're all right. And it will make your batteries wear down a little bit quicker, not a lot, but just a little bit quicker if you're using that internal GPS. So, but if you buy the GPS kit for your SDS 100, not only will it power the GPS with the serial line plug, but it also power your radio, which is a great thing.
Sorry about that.
You all right? You're gonna live?
Yeah, the water went down the wrong way. So.
Oh, I hate that when they had. I was talking to a guy on the phone today, and just like this, I had a pretty long diatribe, and I had the hiccups.
Oh, geez.
And it was just like, and I could not get rid of them. Oh man. At least it hadn't happened tonight. So.
Yeah, which is good.
Our buddy Josh from Texas, who I talked to on the phone a couple days ago, I think. He asked, what batteries do we recommend for the 325P2? Well, the radio comes with rechargeable AA batteries. They're 2,300 milliamp hour AA batteries. Any AA batteries will work. I use whatever is on sale at Sam's Club or Costco because I don't like to deal with rechargeable batteries very often. So I buy just regular off the shelf Duracell type batteries. They work great. You can certainly use rechargeable batteries. They're going to be cheaper in the long run, but you still have to make sure that you charge those batteries properly and in a timely fashion. So if you're going to use your scanner, make sure you charge batteries before you take it out.
Yeah, and the other thing too with using the rechargeable batteries, they slowly lose their charge over a period of time. So if you're not frequently using the radio often, and you go grab the radio, you may not have as much time on those batteries as you think you do. So that certainly is a thing with scanners. Typically, what I do is very much like Rich. I'll use rechargeable batteries, but I'll also carry some alkaline batteries. So I'll have the alkaline batteries as a backup. But yeah, I mean, typically I'll use the rechargeable batteries. Let's say if I'm going to be out rail fanning all weekend, I'll bring some rechargeable batteries in the charger. We carry, Chenergy batteries on Scannermaster's website. And we do have a drop-in cradle, so you can use that as well. I mean, that's the great thing about, if you're going to be using it all weekend, maybe use some rechargeable batteries. But if you don't want to fuss with them, like Rich said, go to BJ's or Costco or Sam's Club. Usually they have those big 48 packs, and you can definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah, and as far as the rechargeable batteries, nickel metal hydride are your best bet for most of the Uniden scanners and the Whistler scanners. They come with 2,300 milliamp hours. I wouldn't get anything that's much less than that. I think 2,100 should be pretty much the bottom line there. The Tenergies that we sell are 2,500 milliamp hours, so they're going to last a little bit longer between charges. And I think I've seen batteries like that are all the way up to 3,000 milliamp hours. So the higher capacity means the longer the radio is going to last on a charge. Let's see here. A couple more suggestions. The question about reaching out to us on Radio Reference. You can, but we prefer that if you reach out to us, that you reach out to us through the support box at Scannermaster. Because I check that once or twice a day during the week. So send us an email there. It's probably better than Radio Reference. It's more reliable, and I do that while I'm getting paid versus my own time.
As for the scanner guys at gmail.com, you can drop us a note there. But, if it's an urgent question, don't typically I get so much going on in that account, it kind of gets mixed in with everything else. So if it's a scanner related question, certainly send it to the support at scannermaster.com, as you see at the bottom of your screen right there. And I pointed in the right direction because that was easy. it's the left and the right. That can be a little strange.
Down is down, but left is right.
Yes. So definitely send it to us. There was a question. It kind of made me chuckle. I'm going to go back to that screen so I could see. Do I ever post on Radio Reference? I'm not a huge poster on Radio Reference. I am an active user of Radio Reference, so I'll look at things. I'm kind of I worked at radio, TV broadcasting, and usually with a talk show, you have your regular listeners. And then you have the people that always call in. I'm one of those that listen that don't call in. I'm sure there's a ton that are watching this broadcast right now that have never commented in the comments. They're just active viewers of this program. So I'm one of those. I have occasionally posted on Radio Reference, but that's not very often. I do have an easy username on Radio Reference. It's actually made an appearance a couple times during the broadcast, when we're doing software and things like that. It's just my name and then the number 7, common spelling, JONATHAN, the number 7. Please don't spam me with man there. But yeah, that's my login there. I mean, it's, so I'm on Radio Reference, whenever I'm doing anything Scanner Master related, I'm on there all day long. So when I'm on when I'm backing up on phones, like Rich, we've got a browser that's on it all the time. We're looking at that constantly.
And I'm on Radio Reference. I'm always on there. I post 10 or 15 times a day sometimes.
So Rich is doing all the posting for me. So, he's doing my share of posting, so I don't have to worry about it.
Well, the neat thing about it is there's a lot of times that I'm answering questions on in the forums. If there's something I'm familiar with, I'll be glad to post an answer to it. And sometimes we'll get a question from one of our callers or a viewer, and I'm like, well, that would be I'm not sure. And I'm going to ask that question on Radio Reference, and I'll try and get an answer for them that way as well. But and then plus a lot of stuff that I do myself. So I'm very, very active there. And I happen to also be a moderator on some of the forums. So sometimes I'll pop on about some of that stuff as well. So let's see here. Another good idea: how to enter in wiki on the Radio Reference website. That's a great topic idea as well. So if you're not familiar with it, on radioreference.com, there is a wiki there that you can edit your own edit wiki like you do on Wikipedia. So if you have particular knowledge about a particular subject, you can help share your knowledge and look at the articles that are already there. And if you find something that's incorrect or can be expanded upon, you have better information, by all means, go ahead and post that in the wiki. The neat thing about the wiki is it has a lot of information that doesn't fit the Radio Reference database and might get lost in the shuffle if you put it in a forum. So it's a great repository for encyclopedic knowledge. Chris says the space station is headed up towards the Midwest. So if you're out there, keep an eye out for the space station. We have a guy in my neighborhood that always posts when the space station or certain planets and stuff are going to be visible. So since we have nice clear skies out here in the mountains, I can go out and see this stuff pretty good because we're outside I'm outside the pollution bubble. So we got nice clear skies. And we can see this type of stuff. Oh, remember that RCA scanner we were talking about earlier?
Yes.
Dan still has it. Cool. That thing has been around since 1979, 1980. So that's 40 years, and that thing is still bouncing around. That's Dan's dog, Shaggy, there, by the way. His faithful companion.
Aww.
Yeah, he's a good guy. All righty. So, hello. Dan is out here in our area. Just got his SDS 200. I think you're in the Tucson area, if I remember, Dan. Yes, it is hot. It's, oh gosh, I don't know. It's probably about 110 out there today. It's been 110 or higher for, I think, the last 2 to 3 weeks. But it's Phoenix, we're used to it, and it hasn't rained since January, I think. So we can deal with it. And that's why they invented air conditioning.
Yes, I definitely know why. Living down here in the Carolinas, why air conditioning was invented.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. When you got humidity, that's you'll love it out here. Yeah, it might be 30 degrees warmer, but you're not going to be sweating out here. Um, so Ira is in Detroit, and he wants to send us a news story to our Facebook page. How would he do something like that?
What I would probably recommend is I do get alerts occasionally for the scanner guys. I would definitely try emailing it to the scanner guys at gmail.com. I'll post that link right on our hold on. I have to remove his comment off the screen and then post there it is. There's the URL right there, right below Rich. If you want to be Vanna White and poke, yeah, there you go, Rich, right there. Yeah, right there. So there's the email address that you could post to, yeah, certainly send that over to us. I'm always looking for scanner related stories. There hasn't been a lot as of recently. It's just been a lot of unfortunately every time I search for scanner related stories, it has a lot to do with the craziness that's going on in the world with protesting and so on. There hasn't been a lot of I love looking for those stories of a police dispatcher or a fire dispatcher doing something heroic over the phone, or one of them being honored for years in service. I haven't seen a lot of those lately. The other cool story that I like to post is whenever the car manufacturers come out with a new vehicle for use of response to an emergency, or some stories about a department finally getting a new fire truck. I mean, those are really cool things, to be able to see, because it's not every day that a fire department gets a new piece of equipment. It's not like something they replace every year.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I was on the fire department, we had I was on the fire department in the late '70s and early '80s, and we had rigs that were built in the '60s, and the new engine was built in like 1970, and then life in a small town,
Yeah, I mean, those trucks go for a lot of money.
Yeah, especially in small towns. The town I lived in was really small. We only had 5 full-time firefighters, and everybody else was paid on call like myself. And so we had 2 engines, and we had a truck, and we had an ambulance and a rescue squad. And the ambulances and the rescue squad were replaced, every 3 or 4 or 5 years, because they wore out quickly, because they were going out a couple dozen times a day. With the ladder truck, especially the ladder trucks, the 25, 30 years is not bad for a ladder truck if it's properly maintained. An engine, 15 years is not bad in small towns, because they're not used as often.
And they're very expensive to replace. I mean, it's a huge investment. A town or a city has to allocate a lot of money to a new rig. It's not. It's not. Like
you'll spend $500,000 on a ladder truck.
Yeah, it's not cheap whatsoever.
Absolutely. So Tim in Texas, he likes his Unication, but they're a better program. Yes, they are. Absolutely.
I actually found it to be fun to program, because of programming various two-way radios that I've done over the years. I found it was kind of interesting. It was almost like programming the two-way radio without the transmit. So you're kind of diving into programming quite a bit. There's several ways that you can run a wild card with it's not called a wild card on there, but it's very similar to that function. So if you don't know what the site ID number is, you can run it in a wild card mode. I programmed my Unication radio for a couple of counties down here and a couple of systems. And I love how it's laid out. I basically have the notches set to various things. And then if I go over to a certain community, switch it to that. Yeah, I mean it's a unique device, that's for sure, and it can be a bear to program if it's just you really got to spend some time with radio reference and take your time with the software because
Yeah.
it's a layered process. You got to set up this and set up that and set up this, and
Yeah.
then you're finally done.
Well, the unifications are great receivers. They aren't scanners, like Tim mentioned there. They have their place. If you want to scan and listen to other stuff at the same time, get an SDS 100. If you want to have great performance on a single system with limited amount of talk groups, the unification is a great option for you. So. Will asks if you have a battery backup, Jonathan, for your UPS, for your stuff there. I would assume that you probably do.
No, I don't actually. I mean, I don't run all the stuff all the time. I mean, usually my computers are off. I should have when I had my radio reference feed.
Yeah,
that would have came in handy. But for the most part, I just turned my unification radio on. So we'll see if during the broadcast if we hear a little chirp of anything.
All right. I do have UPS. I have one underneath my desk for the desk stuff, and I have another one in my cabinet for the networking stuff, which is also in my cabinet. So if you don't have a UPS and you have a computer other than a laptop, you probably want to get one anyway. So Rich has got that same power cable, and he uses it for 4 of his radios. That's the 4 scanner power cable that we sell. I use that on my stack and back. It works great. Let's see here. Hopefully, Vern says hopefully with all that stuff on the 30 amp circuit. Yeah, I have the power jack or wall jack that cabinet's plugged into is on its own circuit breaker. So that's the only thing that particular breaker is running is my cabinet. So. So that way, if that breaker goes, all the other stuff will stay on. All righty. So Will's got 5 circuits in his ham shack. He's got a lot of stuff. I've seen his shack, and he's got lots of stuff. So he's got separate circuits for all that stuff. Yep, there you go. Your radio's working.
No, my radio just chirped.
All right, so Gustavo has got a question about the ICOM R6 and R30 scanning radios from ICOM. Yeah, they do scan. They are basically receivers that scan. I wouldn't call them a scanner, but they are radios that scan. So like a scanner is made specifically to put in a bunch of frequencies and scan through them. These ICOMs, these R6s and R30s and the 8500 and back of me and such, those were designed mostly for dial twiddling and putting in a frequency and doing some searching and stuff. But they can scan frequencies. They just scan differently, and it really wasn't their first intention. But yeah, you can scan with them, but you're probably better off scanning with the scanner when it all comes down to it.
Yeah, like what I use the R20 here. Mm-hmm. I've used this as a rail fanning radio, and it works fairly well. Like you said, like if you're going to use it towards a targeted thing, it's fine. It'll work fine.
Well, I get same thing with I've got an ICOM R5, and I like it because it's even smaller than the 325 or the 125. And I've got it programmed with the railroad channels and the local aviation channels, and it works great because, like I say, it's nice and tiny. Or I clip it to my camera strap.
Yeah, all these radios, like some of these are not some of these are not scanners, but they fit into our hobby. They have they kind of like have their place in our hobby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you got to pick the right radio for the job.
Yes, that's for sure.
So, Donnie asks, whatever happened to the $7 subscription on Radio Reference? Did they? I think that one time they had a 90-day subscription that was probably like $7.50 or something like that. But that went away, and they and they kind of cut it down to 2 different options: 6 months or a year. There was just too many options, and it was a lot of work involved. So
Yeah, and plus the other thing too with transactions, I handle a lot of the e-commerce for Scanner Master's website, and
mm-hmm.
every time that you place an order on the website, we pay what's called a little credit card fee for each transaction. So it's a certain percentage of whatever the amount of the transaction is. So I could kind of get what Ready Reference is, trying to limit the amount of options, especially a small dollar amount. After you take away whatever transaction fee it is, how much money are you making on that $7?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the fees are, but let's say it's 50 cents for a transaction fee. Now, that could be the entire profit for that particular sale after all the expenses are done. So, that's why a lot of times you'll see places where you might get a 5-year subscription for the price of a 2-year subscription or a 3-year subscription, because they're saving money on the back end by not having to pay as many fees. So Glenn asks, and I'm not quite sure I understand the whole thing here, but is there another virtual control for the TRX? The 1098 is not is very similar to the TRX scanners. It's the immediate predecessor to the TRX scanners. So apparently there's a program called Android Suite, which allows you to control it from an Android phone. Wow. So you buy the app. From the Android store. So I wasn't aware of that one. Of course, I'm an Apple guy, so I've never even owned an Android, so I'm not sure how those work. But that was something I was unaware of. So thank you very much, Glenn. 70 proof water, yeah. Give me some vodka, buddy. Okay, Ron's got one here. He's got an SDS 100, but he never got his big battery or cover. So, Ron, what you got to do is you got to go to a website called my.uniden.com. That's my.uniden.com. Register your radio. You're going to have to get your electronic serial number from the menu of the radio. And when you register your radio, you should then they should automatically send you that the large battery and the large battery cover. Once you've registered the radio, you might want to try calling or getting in touch with Uniden support, because it has been almost 2 years now. So I'm not sure how often they check that, or if that's all automated, or if it's just somebody goes and checks for them. But you got to register your radio at my.uniden.com. And originally, they would automatically send you the battery and the battery cover. I'm not sure if it's still automated or not, so you might have to contact them, but make sure you register the radio first. Got another question from Jim, who asks, on the SDS, do you use battery save, and what do you set the low battery voltage for? It's 3.3, okay. I actually turned battery saver off. I rarely use the radio when it's not plugged in. When it's in the car, when it's at home, I usually leave it plugged in. The battery save, what that does, will kind of puts the radio to sleep when it's not seeing activity, and then it wakes up and checks for activity, and then it'll go back. That's great, but you might lose like the first half a word when it transmits. Also, if you want to save your battery life while you're on battery power, make sure you turn the display set so that the display goes out. One of the biggest battery hogs is the backlighting on the display.
Yes. And it's very easy to, on a portable radio, if you have it on your belt, it's very easy to bump into that and turn that backlight on. And then if you have it set so it's set to stay on versus to turn off after so many seconds, that's a huge battery hog.
Yeah. The other thing that's a battery hog is the replay option. So if you don't need the replay option, turn that off, and that will help save your battery. And plus, if you turn off replay, you'll have a less likely, the radio will be less likely to corrupt your data card. We talked about this before. So if you don't use replay, turn it off. You'll be happy you did. And as far as the low voltage setting, 3.3, I think is fine. I wouldn't. You could try it a couple different levels, and that basically is at what level your battery warning is going to come on. Chris uses AA nickel metal hydride batteries. He's got a bunch of them. He says each charge lasts longer than a set of alkalins for his 2 battery-powered radios. Okay, that's I haven't really done that kind of comparison. The only reason I use the non-rechargeable, the alkaline batteries, Duracells, is I'm just too lazy to manage the charging of my batteries.
Hey, you're telling us the truth.
Hey, I'm a truthy kind of guy, So I admit I'm big, fat, and ugly, and lazy.
Oh God, you don't have to be that insulting to yourself.
Self-deprecation, that's the way to do it. Hey, would you rather me talk like that about you?
I'll leave that alone. All right.
Okay. All righty. Moving on. All right. Alicia is listening to the space station on 145.8. A lot of the astronauts get their ham license so that they can talk on ham radio while they're up on the space station. Yeah, it might be really exciting to be up there, but when you're up there for 6 months with 2 or 3 other guys, you might want to have something to do that doesn't involve work. So that's something, and your cell phone's not going to work up there. So at least you can talk to somebody that way.
Yeah, I mean, they'll get sick of talking to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Barry says the dispatchers are the first responders. Always, rarely seen, always heard. You betcha. So dispatchers are every bit as important to public safety as the firefighters, the paramedics, and the police officers. That's how I got my start in the field. Started off as a dispatcher, then started working the street, and ended up my career as being in charge of the dispatchers. So
worked your way all the way inside to outside and then back again.
Yeah, big circle. So I worked in public safety for almost 40 years, and actually, 37 years I did this. So, and I've done everything. Police officer, firefighter, dispatcher, paramedic. The whole 9 yards at one point or another. So, and I'm guessing Barry is looks like what is that? Staff sergeant in the Air Force? Is that what that patch is for? I think it's a staff sergeant in the airport. So, thank you for your service, my friend. So Will is a newbie to scanners. He just found our site on Google and he's liking it. Can we recommend a scanner that won't break the bank? Well, I would normally say the SDS 100, but that will break the bank. In fact, it'll probably break a whole bunch of banks. So he lives in Oklahoma and he wants to listen to a feed on Broadcastify that's gone offline. So he wants to be able to listen to it himself. And so if they're P25, if they're not using simulcast, then a 996 P2 would probably be a good solution, since they use both phase 1 and they work on both phase 1 and phase 2. And that's the least expensive desktop scanner that will work on P25 phase 1 and 2. About $380. It's a great scanner, and if you want to use it as your own feed radio, it's got the record jack. That's why I like it. So Dan is so lucky to have the hobby. When he was stationed in Germany, he took his scanner to the local ham radio club, and then they heard the local police, the German police, and they flipped out because you're not allowed to listen to the police in Germany. Well, if you're in the military, in the U.S. military, on base, U.S. laws apply, or military law apply. So be careful when you go off base. So. Apparently in Germany, you're not allowed to listen to the police. When I was in England, we had the same deal there. You were allowed to listen to ham radio and aircraft, but you weren't allowed to listen to public safety up there. But I had a Pro 43 when I was there a long time ago, and I did anyway. I never got caught.
You just submitted that right on here.
It's the statute of limitations is expired for about the 30 years or so. Yeah. And I will admit that I actually was speeding about a year ago. So,
All
a
right.
few other things that I've done wrong in my past.
Okay, well, just leave that at that. We're not going to document that live right here and have it
Yeah,
recorded forever. I mean, we're going to look.
forever and ever and ever. So, Joe wants to talk about the unification versus the SDS. Now, we talked about this briefly a little bit earlier. If you need a scanner, get the SDS. If you are listening to a single system or just a limited amount of talk groups for a system, the unification is a great alternative. If you want to program in the field, SDS. If you're okay with doing all your changes on the computer, unification. The unification works really well with that, especially with that stubby antenna. It works really well with that. So it's a great unobtrusive radio, and it works very well. It's just, remember, you're limited in what you can do with it and what you can do with it in the field.
Yeah, you get phenomenal distance on this little rubber duck antenna. I mean,
Yeah.
I monitored a system that I was clearly, outside of its limits and was still able to drag that signal. When I first got this radio here, the SDS 100, and occasionally I wanted to put this sucker to the test when I first got this radio. And the wife will typically drag me along and take me to Michael's or one of those craft stores. So
Yeah.
I said, all right, I'm going to see if this radio has got the bang for the buck. I'm going to take it inside of a middle of a store that's got a huge metal roof. Now, if it's able to pull the signals in where other radios are not able to do that, I'll be impressed. Brought that radio in. Sure enough, it worked just like I was standing outside in the parking lot. I mean,
Oh, they're both impressive radios, that's for sure. So, a little bit of sadder news. One of our regulars, Joe Curtis from Wisconsin, is in the hospital. Is not doing so good. One of his friends wanted us to let us know. So, thoughts and prayers to Joe. And if you know Joe, I don't know if he needs anything or not, but remember, keep him in your thoughts and prayers. That's for sure.
That's for sure.
And I think we're down to the end of our comments. I think we're there, my friend.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is Rich and I will look through your comments about the show topics, come up with 3 of those. I'll hopefully get that posted either tonight or tomorrow with the poll on our website. We'll let you guys vote. And then whatever topic comes in first place, we'll do it for the next show. So that should be exciting. It'll be another show picked by our audience, and we'll talk about it right here on the Scanner Guys. We just want to remind you a couple of slides before we leave. If you haven't already, make sure you order your Scanner Guys t-shirt. They're only available for a limited time. Order now at the Scanner Guys website at thescannerguys.weebly.com. It's right on your screen right now. And they are available in 5 different colors. And they are in plus sizes as well, because some of us are a little bit more to love. So me too. So definitely keep that in mind. Next week's broadcast will be Wednesday, July the 23rd. 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, right here on our YouTube channel. So make sure you join us right on our YouTube channel, because we'll be here live. And we can't wait to do another show with you guys. And your guys are going to pick the topic. We also want to remind you to like and subscribe to all of our social media. If you're on the Scanner Master webpage tonight, make sure you like that page. Follow our YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube account, and follow our Instagram. Man, I'm goofing this up tonight. So follow and subscribe to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And then And then also, same thing for the scanner guys as well: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram.
Yeah, and I think you saw what I just saw.
Yeah, it kind of tripped me up over there, with Dale. What is this
Yes.
now? Show topic.
How to get Rich B on the show.
I don't think he's gonna. I saw
Yeah.
the Dayton Hamvention live post, and that was a bit of a
Yeah, he's not a camera friendly
yeah.
guy.
It's not gonna. I'd rather probably him as a viewer than
Yeah.
on the show. I think
Yeah, he gets all kind of fluffy and stuff on camera. So
yeah, we do have other people that we want to have on the show. We do have the capability of doing that right now. We could have up to, which I'm not going to do. We could have up to 10 people on the show at the same time, but I think that'll get a little chaos. With all the
yeah, it's chaotic enough with just us.
Yeah, it looked like a Zoom call with everybody and their uncle.
And for those who are keeping count, this is bottle number 3. I'm just starting bottle number 4. So.
Oh, this is a cool thing.
Oh yeah.
So he's been using the scanner blaster. I'm guessing the speaker mic now works great. He's very happy with it. Yeah, those are awesome. I haven't checked on that. Is that still in stock, or do we still have them?
I think we did last time I looked at it. I'll tell you in a second. I've got one, and I used it last time I went rail fanning. I was at Flagstaff a couple weeks ago, and I used it because it gets really loud. You can't hear the scanner when the trains are going by. And I will tell you in just a second here. Yes, it is in stock. $129.95.
Yep. So we do have that in stock. Yes, it's a little bit money wise, but it's worth it. And believe me, when we coined it the scanner blaster, you do not, and I stress, do not crank your unit in radio or Whistler radio all the way up. You will blast yourself out when there's a radio transmission.
Yeah, turn the volume all the way down to just right after you turn the radio on, and leave it there first, and then make sure you check your volume, because this thing is loud, and it really is. It will blast you into the next county if you turn the radio up too loud.
Since we do have a few people just mentioned Danny from Distant Signals, which I follow his YouTube account. Rich and I are actually thinking about doing a monthly rail fanning show, since we can't do that all the time on here because we'll bore the I'm trying to find the right word.
Bore the bejesus out of our listeners that are not rail fans.
Yes. And there's the Train Aficionado, with all of its social media, we do have a platform there where we're able to do it on their YouTube channel, and we may end up doing that. That's something that we definitely need to look at. Yeah.
So we will do, and then we'll make sure we let people know about that once we get that one going. So Danny, if you're a rail fan, check out his YouTube videos. They're really well done, and this guy, he must be a professional radio announcer, because or as the late Bobby Collins say, professional radio pronouncer.
Pronouncer, yeah.
Pronouncer, yeah. He's got a voice made for radio, and he's very good about his production values are very high too. So
so we'll definitely that would be awesome, to be able to do that as well. As a monthly type of thing in conjunction with the scanner guys shows that we do here. Because that's probably one of Rich and I's favorite topics, is to talk about rail fanning, and Rich, you've got a ton of stories, and there's a whole bunch of people that are a part of the hobby for rail fanning, like Danny from Distant Signals, that we could talk to, in a format like this, and really talk about how they got into the hobby, what their favorite things to do, maybe some behind the scenes stuff of how he produces things on the YouTube channel and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and Railfan51, we did get your message. We did talk about it earlier in case you missed it. So,
Yeah, we
yeah,
definitely
hopefully,
did.
hopefully Joe gets better, and let him know if you talk to him that we are thinking about him, and we hope, like I say, we hope he gets better.
Yeah, we hope so. We hate to see any of our fans,
Yeah,
in the hospital or anything like that. We hopefully for a speedy recovery and get to see him making comments on our social media here.
there you go. So, I think that's gonna do it for tonight. I think.
Yeah, well, that's going to do it for tonight. So I want to thank you for joining us this evening. If you made it this far in the broadcast, congratulations. If you're watching us on the replay, thank you so much for taking the time to watch us, after the live broadcast. We'll be back next week right here on the YouTube channel for Wednesday, July the 22nd. We're already almost done with July. One more full
Yeah.
week, and we'll be right into August. So
Yeah.
keep it right here. We'll catch you again next week. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe to our social media as well. I'll post that up as we leave. So I'm Jonathan Higgins.
I'm Rich Carlson.
Have a good night, guys. And thank you so much for watching.
Bye, guys.